my loves, welcome back to another video and welcome back to my channel. Today I come to you in a very cozy state. Outside it's rainy and it's quite cloudy and quite cozy. As you can see, I'm also wearing a little bit more of a cozy casual attire than I usually do, but it's just to set the mood for the video. I also have my little blanket and my cup of tea. And also, if you're wondering where my blanket is from, I showed it properly in my previous video where I did an autumn home decor haul. So I'll leave it down below, and if I can figure out how to do the little card thing, I'll leave it here or here, wherever it shows up, and you can see that. But yeah, anyways, I am very cozy today, and today we are going to be talking about spooky TV shows and films that I recommend to you if you really want to get into the Halloween spirit, but you do not want to get nightmares. So the idea for this video came to me because I used to be quite a big horror movie fan. I haven't watched like a full-on horror film in a while, and that's because even though I really enjoyed watching them, I would usually get nightmares from them. And it came to a point where right now I have to sleep in a very specific position in order to feel safe at night. And I was like, okay, this has to stop. I cannot continue to be like this. So I just stopped watching full-on horror films. But I still really love Halloween, and I always have. So I was like, okay, which are the movies that I usually watch every year that are spooky, really get me into the vibes, make me so happy, but don't give me nightmares, that I can recommend? And I rounded them up, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. So before we get started, make sure to get your tea or your coffee or whatever drink of choice you want, or maybe a little snack. Get cozy with me, grab a little blanket, and yeah, let's get into it. So, I thought I might start with TV shows first. I only have two and a small little honorable mention after. But yeah, my first TV show that I'm going to be recommending is my absolute favorite for Halloween, or just in general. It's honestly become such a comfort show to me. Which is The Curious Creations of Christine McConnell on Netflix. So, if you don't know who Christine McConnell is, she's an artist. She does everything from masterpieces, baking, to like home stuff, like, but not like actually building homes. She like decorates them, but it's not just like a normal DIY. Like, she really creates the most beautiful pieces and you've ever seen in your entire life. And her aesthetic and just like everything she creates is very much spooky, horror type of inspired, and not only for Halloween, but just like year long. That's like what she's most passionate about, and she does it beautifully, let me tell you. So in the show was created, I believe, in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. It only has one season, sadly, because it got canceled. I really wish that Netflix would renew it because I really want to see more of it. But you basically follow Christine in her house along with these adorable little creatures that live in the house with her. And she mostly does baking. She does do some other kind of like arts and crafts and stuff that she does show on the show as well, which are incredible. There's also like some guest stars which are really great, like Dita Von Teese is on a couple of episodes, which is incredible. And yeah, I've always really enjoyed the show. Ever since it came out, I was so drawn to it. It's unlike anything I've ever seen before. It's super unique, and it definitely has the vibes completely down. Like, it's not just her baking and like doing stuff. It also has like a bit of a storyline that goes through with it, even though it's not like the main focus of the show. But yeah, it's just such a great balance, I think, and it's so wholesome and entertaining, and I honestly love it, like, so much that it's come to a point where sometimes I feel a little bit odd, like I don't feel quite myself. I literally watch it and I just feel so much better for some reason. It's just so great. I honestly couldn't say enough great things about it. And Christine McConnell, she is just a genius. Like, she has so much talent. It's crazy. If you watch the show and you really enjoy it like I do, and you really want to see more of her, she does have a YouTube channel. She posts like, I think like once a month or once every other month, just because her videos are quite big and they clearly take like a lot of time to do. But I would definitely recommend that you guys check it out. I'll probably leave her channel linked below for you guys so you can check her out. I think she also has a Patreon, but that should all be linked in her channel. So yeah, I would definitely recommend you guys check her out because she's honestly incredible. Like, everything from her intro to like just the pieces of art she creates are just sensational. And yeah, I cannot say enough good things about her. I really hope that in one day in the future they kind of renew the show, or at least do like some sort of spin-off from it, because it's just so great. I love it. And I always recommend it to people. It is a bit odd, as I said. It's not for everyone. Sometimes I've recommended it to people, they're like, oh, that's a bit weird. I would never say it's in a bad sense though. But yeah, it's definitely a bit odd. I sometimes feel like I get a similar reaction when I recommend this show to people than what I do when I recommend The Dark Crystal. So The Dark Crystal is a show on Netflix based on a movie that was made in the 80s, but it's made with like puppets. There's like dolls in, like the characters are puppets, and they are quite unique looking. I find them adorable. I think they're so pretty. I really like them. Not all of them, but like the main ones are. But some people also, like, whenever I recommend it to them, they're like, oh, I'll look it up now on Netflix, and they kind of see the picture of the creatures. They're like, oh, this is a bit weird. So yeah, apparently it's not everyone's cup of tea. To me it is. I absolutely recommend it, and I actually even recommend The Dark Crystal as an honorable mention in this video now that I remembered it and I'm talking about it. I don't know if it's like very spooky vibes. It can be. But yeah, if you want to try something new, I would definitely recommend that one as well. But yeah, so anyway, top favorite, Christine McConnell. Well, The Curious Creations of Christina McConnell. Again, you can watch it on Netflix. It is a Netflix show, so it should always be there. And yeah, I cannot recommend it enough. It's amazing. If you guys watch it, please let me know in the comments what you think about it, because I am obsessed and I watch it every year without fail. So yeah, moving on to the second TV show though. That one's also a Netflix show, and it's Stranger Things. So if you haven't heard of Stranger Things, it's basically a show that's set in the 80s in a little town in the US, and we follow a group of friends that are like little kids, and one of them goes missing. And when this guy goes missing, they find a girl instead. Her name is 11, and she has telekinetic powers, and she can also do a bunch of other really great spooky things, like open alternate dimensions, and there's like all these creatures and aliens in it, and it's quite fun. It's quite an entertaining show. I really, really love it. I've watched it since it came out. It's still running. It should finish, I think the next season's coming out quite soon, maybe like next year or something like that. And I think that's going to be the final season. So it should be finishing soon. But so far there's 4 seasons. For me, the ones that have most Halloween vibes are probably 2 and 4. 1 also has a lot of Halloween vibes. The 3rd one, not so much, just because it's set in summer. But yeah, I would definitely recommend you guys really watch it if you haven't before. If you have, then you definitely know what I'm talking about. It definitely has all the Halloween vibes. I said that 2 and 4 are, for me, the ones that have the most vibes, just because 2 is set in actual Halloween. Like, you actually see them on Halloween night, and 4 is very spooky, but it won't give you nightmares, which is, I think, the important thing. So yeah, I usually binge it about this time of year every year. Last year the new season came out, and I was absolutely obsessed with it. It was just incredible. Honestly, throughout the show, the performances of the kids and the adults and everyone are just incredible. The world building, It was created by the Duffer Brothers, and honestly, they created such an incredible world out of it. I definitely recommend you guys watch it, and everyone I know that watches it absolutely loves it. So if you don't want to take it from me, take it from everyone else I know because it really is a great show. So for the honorable mention, for the TV show part, just to like kind of wrap this up, I will mention The Haunting of Hill House. It's also a Netflix show. It is a limited series. It was just a 1 season. I believe it's based on a book, but you basically follow a family. It kind of jumps points of view from when they were kids and now they're adults, and their lives around this house that they lived in. There's like a mystery in it. There's like quite a couple of other really special, I don't want to spoil it, but like really special things that go on, and like abilities that some people have. And yeah, I think it overall is just such a great show. I think this one's a little bit more on the spooky side of things. I don't watch it every year, which is why I'm doing the honorable mention and not like putting it as like an actual show that I always watch. But I remember that when I did watch it, I was like really impressed by it. I was like, wow, this is great. And again, it's a little bit more on the spooky side. It's a little bit more horror leaning than the other two that I recommended. But again, it didn't give me nightmares, so I don't think it will give you guys nightmares. But yeah, let me know if you guys watch it and what you think of it, because I honestly think it was great. When I did watch it, it was quite a couple of years ago, but I also have a couple friends I've watched it and really enjoyed it. So yeah, there's my honorable mention for that. And then let's move on to the movie side of things. So let me actually take a sip for a sec and we shall continue. So if you want to like refill your drink or your snacks, now's the time. Okay, so for the movie side, most of these are gonna be, I think, quite no-brainers, but I'll still mention them anyway, just in case. So the first one that I'm gonna be talking about is Harry Potter, which is, again, a bit of a no-brainer. I feel like mostly everyone watches Harry Potter around this time of year. I think it's just the perfect time of year to watch it, honestly. It's just so great. It has all the spooky vibes, obviously. I mean, there are witches and wizards and all the creatures and stuff like that, and it's just an incredible film series, like in every possible way. Everything to me is just absolute perfection about those movies. I love them. I love the performances, the stories, the actors, the world building, the music, the cinematography, like everything is just perfection. And I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. I remember watching the first film when I was a little kid in the cinema, and I was just obsessed with it ever since then. I remember very vividly watching the first film, in cinema, and watching the scene where Harry's in Ollivanders and he gets his wand for the first time and like everything lights up around him. It was just so magical. And yeah, what can I say? I'm a huge Harry Potter nerd. I was literally in a Harry Potter trivia night last night, and I'm wearing a Harry Potter hoodie right now. I'm a Ravenclaw. I mean, I know my Patronus. I know what my wand is. I watched all of them again in the movies, and I watch them every year around this time of year as well. And I have gone to the London Warner Brothers tour. I've also saw an exhibit once when I was in LA in the Warner Brothers studios again for Harry Potter, but the London one I think is better, like London, UK. And yeah, what can I say? It's just such a classic. Like, I don't think I have to explain it much, just because obviously I feel like everyone knows what Harry Potter is. And if you don't, have you been sleeping under a rock? But yeah, that one's just, I think for me, just absolutely impeccable Halloween vibes. It's always in my rotation. I already saw it leading up to Halloween. So yeah, cannot say enough great things about it. I think Harry Potter is probably the movie I've watched the most times, other than Pride and Prejudice, 2005 version. Like, it's just as simple as that. It just is. Which brings me to my next film recommendation, which is also along the lines of Harry Potter, which is Twilight. Twilight is also, I think, such an obvious pick for this type of thing, but it's just so great. Like, again, it has all the vibes. Like, right now that it's kind of rainy outside, I'm getting all of the Twilight vibes. Like, my window literally looks like I live in Forks, like, which is great. I mean, I love that for me. I really do. Like the cloudy, rainy, like the trees, and they have like the autumnal colors, and like I feel very in the Twilight vibes, you know? Like, I love it. And for anyone that would be curious, I am Team Edward, very proudly so. Have always been. Again, I watched them in the movie theater when I was like a kid, preteen, and I just fell in love with them. They're amazing. And also, for everyone that also watched them in the theaters when they came out, Breaking Dawn Part 2 in the cinema and like opening day to me is a cinematic experience like no other. I won't say why for those of you who haven't watched them, but it was just something I'll never forget. It was just incredible. So yeah, I absolutely recommend them for spooky season. They will not give you nightmares, and they're just amazing. And I feel like it will make you like dream and make you feel like very dreamy. I love things that make me feel dreamy, but like spooky at the same time. Again, it's just perfection, just like Harry Potter. It just has the vibes there. Even though it's not directly that Halloween related, I feel like Harry Potter's probably a little bit more Halloween related, but I mean Twilight is vampires and werewolves, so I guess it is as well. But yeah, I just love it. I could ramble about it all day, and I really don't want to make this video rambly, so I'll just move on before I start with the rambles, even though I think I've already kind of started. Sorry. Okay, so third recommendation for movies is another no-brainer, but this one's very like Halloween, which is Hocus Pocus. The first one, not the second one. I did watch the second one last year. I think it was good, but it still doesn't beat the first one in my opinion. The first one was just perfection, and the first one is the one I watched every year, and I watched every year since I used to watch it on Disney Channel when they used to like pass it like in this time of year, like they would put it on. And yeah, it's just perfection. To me, Hocus Pocus is probably the perfect Halloween film. Like, that is a film that I always watch every year on actual Halloween. Like, it's just perfect. It's set on Halloween Day. There, like, you have the witches, you have like the great story, like the great characters. It's just incredible. You kind of go through, for those of you who don't know Hocus Pocus, it's basically you follow this kid and her, like him and his little sister on Halloween Day, and they try and go and like resurrect like some old like wives' tale witches that used to live in their town, and they actually do resurrect them. And that there's this little cat that used to be a human, Thackeray Banks, and they kind of all go on an adventure to try to beat the witches and like get Thackeray Banks home and stuff like that, because his soul has been trapped as a cat for like centuries. And yeah, it's very wholesome. Again, it has all the Halloween vibes. It's such a great film. It makes me laugh so much, but it also makes me cry, and it's just incredible. I honestly love Hocus Pocus, and I love anything Hocus Pocus related. Forever the best Halloween film of all time. I said what I said. So yeah, after this one, I usually watch, which is my fourth pick, The Nightmare Before Christmas. So I feel like Halloween is one of those holidays that people, like, after it's done, it's done. Like, I feel like Christmas we drag out a little bit more. Halloween, for some reason, we don't. And for me, The Nightmare Before Christmas is the film that, like, helps me drag out that, like, Halloween blues a little bit more. So I usually watch it in November, like, either on November 1st or, like, a couple of days after that. Because again, it just like, makes me feel like it's Halloween still, and it kind of gets me a little bit into the Christmas mood, so it's kind of like the perfect 2-in-1. And yeah, for those of you who don't know, it's a film by Tim Burton. I feel like every Tim Burton film is probably very in the spooky vibes. I also love The Corpse Bride. If you're looking for a different one that's not The Nightmare Before Christmas, that one's also great. But The Nightmare Before Christmas follows Jack Skellington, and he is kind of like the absolute king. He's a pumpkin king in Halloween land, and he one day discovers Christmas land, and he becomes obsessed with it, and he kind of wants to bring it to the people in Halloween land, and a lot of stuff goes down. And it's great. It's super entertaining. The visuals are really great. The characters are really great. All the little creatures. Definitely recommend. I mean, it's a cult classic for a reason. And honestly, the soundtrack is also incredible. I mean, like, the song "This Is Halloween" is such a favorite of mine. I literally have it on a playlist on Spotify. I have a little Halloween playlist. It's named Halloween, but I actually listen to it all year round. Just, it's kind of like my more like rock metal type of playlist, but I have that song in it, and it just gets me into the mood, man. I know every little lyric to that song, like every word, and it's just incredible. It just makes me so happy. It gives me all the vibes. So yeah, that one is definitely something that I would definitely recommend to all of you to watch as well after Halloween if you feel like me and kind of want to drag it out a little bit more. Which brings me to my honorable mentions for the films. Those that I just mentioned, which are, I think, pretty obvious, like there weren't anything out of the blue, are the movies I watch every single year without fail. Every single year when it's Halloween and leading up to Halloween, I will watch them. Like, no questions asked. However, my honorable mentions are movies that are kind of spooky, won't give you nightmares, that I don't watch every year, but I watch every other year, and I have really enjoyed. So yeah. Should I start with... I'll start with Jennifer's Body. So Jennifer's Body is a horror film. It's directed by Diablo Cody, and it's starring Megan Fox, and I think it's a cult classic for a reason. A lot of people say it's like a feminist icon film, and it totally is, but I feel like there's a lot more complexity in that film than just that. Like, I also feel like you can kind of see a lot of like dark feminine energy throughout, and like how destructive it can get. So in the film we follow this girl called Jennifer, obviously, and she's kind of like the it girl. She's a very popular girl, and she has a best friend, which is Needy, and Needy is kind of like completely different to Jennifer, even though they're best friends, in the sense that Needy's a little bit more nerdy. She is kind of like a good girl. Jennifer is definitely not. And one day they go and see a band that's playing in their town, and Jennifer kind of gets like enamored with the band and the lead singer, and he goes with them, and they sacrifice her thinking she's a virgin, but she's not. And this kind of spell sacrifice ritual goes wrong, and she ends up being a demon that is a boy eating demon. So the only way she can survive is if she feeds and eats boys, which is quite an ahead of its time, I would say, idea. And it's definitely quite an entertaining film. Like, it's very iconic for a reason again. Like, so many great lines. Megan Fox, I think, does a great performance in it. So does Amanda Seyfried that plays Needy. And yeah, you see like a lot of stuff on it that's like to do a little bit more with like feminine energy and how femininity in those sort of like ages in high school kind of like plays out and all of that, which I find very interesting. And I think I could do probably like a whole video just on like all of the underlying subjects on Jennifer's Body. But for the sake of keeping this video a little bit shorter, that's all I'm gonna say on it. If you guys want to see that other video though, let me know in the comments down below and I can definitely make it. But yeah, Jennifer's Body is definitely one that I would definitely recommend around this time of year. Which brings me to my second honorable mention, which is It. It's the movie, not the show. So there's a limited series that came out in like the 90s based on the book. So it is a book written by Stephen King, and it's basically follows a group of kids and how they encounter this demonic clown called Pennywise that kind of turns into everything that you fear and eats children. So it's quite another complex kind of film, which I really love. Again, I would recommend the film, not the show. I watched the show, or at least a little bit of it when I was like 10, and I was traumatized by it. Like, I watched it with some friends at like a birthday party, and oof, it was rough. It was rough. I mean, I was a kid. I thought this clown was gonna eat me. I mean, it was not pretty. But the film, though, that came out a couple years ago is really great, honestly. I feel like the book is also really great. It's quite a meaty book, though. It's like 1,000 pages, and it jumps from point of view. I have it. I haven't finished it yet. I've been reading it for literally years. But yeah, it's great. I mean, honestly, I love the movie. I think they did a great job at like in the adaptation. Pennywise was really great, like casted, and the performance was amazing. The kids did a really great job, and again, it's like a bit more of a complex horror film. I don't think it will give anyone nightmares, but so that's why I recommend it. But this one's definitely much more of like a horror type of film. But yeah, it's just so great because it has a really great plot. You can see that the fears of each one of the kids are like quite deep. They're not just like, oh, I'm afraid of, I don't know, of clowns or whatever, even though one of them is. It's like they all have like very psychological underlying reasons for their fears, and that's like what I find so fascinating. And like there's so much material there. It's honestly great. I was literally obsessed with this movie when it came out, so much that I even have a t-shirt that has Pennywise on it. It has the TV version of Pennywise on it, but like I love that t-shirt and I wear it a lot, and it's kind of like an iconic t-shirt of mine. Like all my friends and my boyfriend and like everyone always remembers that t-shirt. And I was actually Pennywise some Halloweens ago, so I will share some pictures on the screen now if you guys are interested in seeing me as Pennywise and you need to get like some Halloween costume inspo. I'll leave them here on the screen for you guys to like maybe get some info from. But yeah, so moving on. I think this is probably going to be my last recommendation, which is, honorable mention, which is basically any movie by Guillermo del Toro. Specifically, Pan's Labyrinth and Crimson Peak. I loved Crimson Peak. It's if you're into period dramas and you also love spooky stuff, this is literally the perfect film for you. It's starring Tom Hiddleston, and Mia, is her last name Wasikowska? I cannot pronounce her last name for the life of me, but she played Alice in Alice in Wonderland in like the live action version. She's a wonderful actress. I'm sorry that I don't know your last name. But it's a great movie. It has like a mystery. It's set in like Victorian England. It's like kind of a period drama, but it's like very gothic, and yeah, it has all the vibes. It has a great mystery to it. It's like kind of like Jane Eyre, but like on steroids type of thing, and like a lot more gory. Jane Eyre isn't gory, but like gory Jane Eyre type of situation. So yeah, I absolutely adore it. I don't watch it every year. I should watch it more though. But yeah, I would definitely recommend that one. And Pan's Labyrinth is also another one that's really great. The creatures are just incredible. Like the mind of Guillermo del Toro is just insane. And also, if you are more, if you speak Spanish like me, Pan's Labyrinth is it was actually filmed in Spanish. So the original language of it is Spanish, and in Spanish it's called, I believe, El Laberinto del Fauna. So if you guys speak Spanish and want to watch it in Spanish, you can also do that. It's a great film. Again, it has a really great storyline, and yeah, it's just so interesting, honestly. And the creatures and like the story, the adventure is just incredible. So I would definitely recommend those as well. If you guys are interested in something a little bit different that you maybe haven't watched before, I think those are great options for the period drama lover girlies, and for just, yeah, Halloween lovers. And yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. If you want to see more recommendations, or maybe recommendations of movies and TVs for the holidays, for like winter, for different seasons, let me know and I can definitely do that. I wanted to do this version of the video but for like autumny type of movies, not necessarily Halloween but spooky, but I feel like the time has already passed, so I'll probably do it for next year. But if you guys are still interested in that, let me know and I can still do it. And yeah, let me know what other videos you want to see from me. But yeah, I think without further ado, I'm gonna be getting out of here. This video is long enough as it is, but I hope you guys really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed being cozy with me. Let me know if you also liked this type of vibe video that's a little bit more chilled, a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more, you know, the blanket, the tea. Even though I didn't drink the tea, I'm gonna be drinking it now, I promise. But yeah, and I hope it wasn't too dark because it's literally raining outside and I film with natural light, so hopefully it wasn't too dark. But yeah, gonna stop rambling now, gonna get out of here. Thanks so much for watching, you guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.